Right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Crossing Swords. As always, I'm Andrew.
And I'm the professional here, I think.
I've just, I actually did prep for this episode, Jake hasn't, but I feel like I'm the one who's turned up the least prepared mentally for this moment.
I don't know why you always call me out.
I want the
What have
people
I done
to
to
know.
you? The people know. The people know I do nothing. I feel like the people do know.
They know everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not everything.
Because I make sure I tell them.
Even, even that thing?
What thing?
Oh, so not everything.
I don't know what thing you're talking about.
You know, that...
The thing?
The thing.
The big thing?
What? The moderately sized in comparison to other males aged 20 to 30 in my age range.
I'm not 20 to 30.
You are, 20 to 31.
2. I just turned 32.
20 to 32. Yeah, you just had a birthday.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm still 20 to 30.
Yeah.
I mean, just.
Are you? I thought you were already in your 30s.
No, my last year to go on an 1830 holiday.
Yeah.
This is it.
Are you doing it?
I'd want to.
Do you?
Like, part of me
What, like
really
a
wants.
clubbing
A
holiday?
club 1830s even
What,
still
like
a thing.
just like sort of see off your youth, basically.
Just like it's my last chance to qualify for a club 1830.
Yeah. Just
I
gotta
don't think
embrace it.
anyone. I don't think.
There's
on
no
those-
one you could go with. You'd just be going on your own.
I don't think anyone turns up who's actually 30 on those things, do they?
No. I
Really,
mean,
it's club 18 to 21.
yeah. I mean, when we went on one of those the second time round, it was about 4 years between the two holidays, and by the second one we felt
Yeah,
like
we were about 25ish.
we felt like the perverts in the room, didn't we?
Being actual perverts probably didn't help.
No, that never helps, But
But yeah, it felt like jailbait.
yeah.
And do you know what I was reminded that I was reminded of a
It's
Sean
a
Locke
terrible
joke
term,
earlier.
isn't it?
A jailbait. Yeah, it's really horrific. I was reminded of a really good, a joke I like from Sean Locke earlier, because he sort of says he's talking about like PC
Rippers.
culture, and he says absolute rippers, and he says,
Take 'em
"Oh,
to
I
some.
can't." He says, "I can't really say anything like moderately racist because none of my best friends are black." And then he kind of goes off and he's like, "You can't say that about anything else, can you?" "Oh, I'm not a murderer. Some of my best friends are alive." And he goes, "Oh, I'm not a paedophile. Some of my best friends are kid." He said, "Actually, that one doesn't help, does it?
No.
That one makes it worse."
Yeah.
I was like, "That's a solid joke."
He was. Do you know what? I don't think I ever saw any of his stand up. I only ever saw him on panel shows.
Really?
Yeah.
You should seek it out. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. What are we here to talk about, Jake?
wow. I feel like do you just exist to call me out, to serve me up to people?
Yeah. Well, it gave me a few seconds to pull up my notes.
Yeah,
Like
and
extensive
a
notes.
small little moment of power.
I'll tell you what we'll start with to take the attention off of you for a moment, no matter how much you want it. It's that time of the year again. It's really sad, but we've lost another good person, Jake.
A truly great person, in my opinion.
I couldn't agree more, and that's Mr. Paul O'Grady.
Yeah, rippers to Paul OG.
And this
Real
one,
OG.
This one goes out to the real OG.
In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti.
Do you know what though? Every time we do that, and it's the second time we've done that now, I couldn't mean it in a more respectful way.
And yeah,
but
it
every
seems
time
so
I do it,
piss-taking.
I feel disgusting inside.
I don't think Paul would have had it any other way.
I think he'd be on board with it.
Yeah, he'd be on board with that.
Yeah. Do you know what's the nicest thing I heard about him though? Because one of the nice things when these moments happen is all the nice stories that flood out about them. And one of them was that I didn't know this, that any time they had a job opening on his shows, they always advertised in the local job centre to give people an opportunity, because that's how he got started in the industry.
Yeah,
that's nice.
It was.
It's the complete opposite to a Tory mentality, isn't it? It's keeping
Well,
the ladder well and truly.
Have you seen him? The clip that went around of him calling out the Tories
I
live
didn't watch
on
it, but I saw everyone was sharing
during
it.
his show,
Yeah,
and the budget was announced that day, and he was like, "They're fucking bastards,"
yeah.
and just ripped into him. And because I don't know if you saw Amanda Holden got into a bit of trouble because she said on her show like,
Oh, he
he
was the
didn't have a
complete
woke
opposite
bone
to
in his
woke.
body, and it was like absolute couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah.
This is a man who was at the forefront of the gay and AIDS crusade
Yeah.
back in the 80s. This is a man who was continually called out in favour of the working classes.
Yeah.
Couldn't be further from the truth.
Well, he's a Scouser, isn't he?
He is.
So,
He is. But it's like, have you heard the thing that he made, the joke he made
Oh, about the
like,
marigolds.
famously? Yeah, when the police came, and obviously because it was during the AIDS thing, and they had all the gloves on
Rubber
and
gloves
stuff.
on.
Yeah, go breaking into a gay club, and he was just like, "Oh, looks like we've got some help with the washing up, lads."
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it was a very serious situation back then.
And then went to spend the night in the cells as Lily Savage.
Yeah. Brilliant. Like, it's like people like Paul O'Grady are the reason why now stuff like Drag Race is possible, isn't it?
Well,
It's very early
how
doors.
backwards it is, by the way, that now I don't know, because I don't know if you've seen. I've just seen this announcement today,
Okay.
and there's been a real backlash from certain people, and they're all the usual suspects. So Doctor Who have announced that a drag queen called Jinx Monsoon,
Right.
nothing to me,
No, I
Right.
can't think of what the play on words
is
is.
going to be in the cast
Right.
for Doctor Who.
Okay.
The backlash has just been insane, and it was like,
Yeah.
and it's quite funny because some of the, it's all the usual suspects,
Yeah.
and it's all the hate peddlers, but the ones who a week ago or a few days ago were talking about how great Paul O'Grady was,
Okay.
and you're like, right, okay, but
Yeah,
you
there's
do
no
realise
consistency
you do
there.
realise Paul O'Grady
Was most famous for doing
was
Lily
first
Savage.
introduced to us doing primetime TV
Yeah.
in drag.
Yeah.
How backwards we've
It's
gone.
ridiculous. There was something I was going to say. And it's completely
Probably
gone
wanted
now.
to call me out.
One of my guilty pleasures is watching when he did the Battersea Dogs Home show.
Oh yeah, was that for the love of dogs or
Yeah,
whatever?
that was it, for the love of dogs. That's it. I used to love watching that because that's just it's good
A
telly.
huge animal rights protest.
And he had to be stopped adopting them every time, which I think is nice. But yeah, no,
he's a beautiful human being.
He's going to be sorely
Beautiful
missed.
human being.
Sorely missed.
And like you said, what definitely, I'm going to fight as hard as I can to keep the ladder
Well and
dangling below
truly.
me,
Yeah,
so that you lot
Open.
can follow me up.
yeah. And the thing is, like, I'm sure in their community they do, but as I was mentioning before, the fact that back then he was doing drag is the reason why it's more widely accepted now.
Mm.
So I'm sure people like RuPaul will massively appreciate him. And it's nice. It's annoying though that I didn't actually watch the clips, but I saw them being posted around of like people trying to use it as an opportunity to make a political point or stuff
That's
like that.
become something that's happened in the last year or two, that whenever someone dies, they use it to...
Yeah,
They
push an agenda.
politicise someone's death. Oh,
Yeah.
I can't stand
No, it's
that.
disgusting.
It's so despicable.
Yeah, it's like when they were doing it with Joe Cox and people like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, rippers.
Yeah, big rippers, big rippers.
All right, speaking of guilty pleasures, what's your guilty pleasure movie? Like one that if you're in a shit mood, or one that if you're just a movie that you'll go to, you can always sit and watch. It might be a bit embarrassing to admit.
I'm not sure I have one. I'm not certainly one that's coming to mind. Do you have one?
Do you tend to watch like just a different film every time you sit down to watch a film?
No, there are some that I will go back to, but I wouldn't say I seek them out. I would say that it's just if they're on.
But you haven't got like a
I
go-to
will watch
movie
them.
that I just want to sit and watch a movie. I can't decide what to watch.
No.
I'll watch this.
No.
Oh wow, okay.
Do you?
Yeah, I've liked several.
What about the guilty pleasure ones?
The guilty pleasure ones, one that like, because I've mentioned before that I'm sort of into romance films. There's one I really like called The Lucky One.
Is that Zac Efron?
Yeah, it is, and it's a really good film. It's really
I'll
sweet.
take your word for it. I've not.
It's really sweet.
Rom-coms really died out, haven't they?
Yeah, I think they got killed. I think we talked about this before. People like Katherine Heigl and Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
They just.
Oh, we did. That was on the last
Aniston.
episode.
Yeah.
I was in my head. I was like, I've had a conversation about this recently.
Yeah, it
oh,
was
it was
with
here.
me.
It was
Yeah.
here. It was on the
Yeah.
pod. Yeah. Makes sense.
One of the things I wanted to talk about was why hasn't the Flash movie been scrapped?
Well, because Ezra Miller being
Yeah.
batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Because it's
Because I'm going to be honest with you. I tried looking up what Ezra Miller's done, and I think I've mentioned this on the pod before. It ranges from being in a sex cult to kidnapping to underage girls. Like, it's just a very wide spectrum of.
I think quite
allegations.
simply because it's the perfect opportunity to reset the DC universe.
Okay.
And now that James Gunn's come in as like the Kevin Feige role, it's, he's got this plan, he's got this vision,
Yeah.
and he's announced it like a couple of months ago. The phases.
The really awkward thing is, it looks like a good film.
It'll be a
Watching
great
the
film. I
trailer.
love genuinely the Flashpoint
I'm
Paradox.
assuming because I know you love the Flash.
Well, Flashpoint Paradox is
I'm
one of
guessing
my
you're gonna
all-time
watch it.
favourite storylines.
I know it is.
Like, I genuinely love it.
I know you've mentioned it.
I'm gonna
before.
watch it, yeah, because it looks fucking dope as shit.
And also, it's got like Michael Keaton. I'm a big fan of Michael Keaton. The Batman films when I was a kid were trash. I wasn't a Batman.
But they weren't
fan
when we were
I was a kid.
kids. Oh no, but maybe they were for
I
you.
don't know. I feel like they were. Like, they were just so
Camp.
and polished and like cartoony, but not cartoony, so it didn't work.
But I liked them.
Like Jim Carrey, I love Jim Carrey, but Jim Carrey as the Riddler is one of the shittest things I've ever seen in my life. And I've forgotten what we were talking about now.
Flash movie.
Flash movie, yeah. But Michael Keaton, I'm a big fan of. But yeah, and it looks like a really good film. And I know we've talked about separating it, but I don't know. It doesn't send out a great message.
It's just the perfect opportunity to reset the universe.
Okay. Do you think also because he's not, so from what I've seen, there's not a lot he's actually been found guilty of? Like, he's not been prosecuted for anything
Possibly.
yet?
I don't know. But like I said, I think it's as simple as that.
Do you think Marvel will drop Jonathan Majors?
It's really interesting one because they've made him an integral part of the next
hugely
phase.
integral
Like, he is the main villain or a featuring villain
in almost everything that's going to happen.
Everything. Like, 2 Avengers movies. Obviously, Ant-Man's that's come out, so we can forget that's done.
I haven't even seen that yet.
No, nor have I. But I think he's rumoured to appear in the Loki, Deadpool.
Deadpool.
Yes. Moon Knight?
Okay. Are they doing another season of Moon Knight then? Oh,
yeah. So,
last I heard they weren't doing another one.
Because one of Kang's variants is an ancient Egyptian.
Of course,
but so it's like he's rumoured to appear in pretty much everything from now until the next phase ends. So I think they're going to wait and see out the court case. What do you think?
I hope you're right, because I think that's the right thing to do. We don't know the truth of what's happened. If it is true that he's done what he's accused of doing, that's not good, and we don't on this podcast approve of that sort of behaviour. But yeah, innocent until proven guilty, I feel like.
Also, personally, I think what would be equally acceptable for me in this situation is to not say anything, not acknowledge it, and just replace him with Don Cheadle or Mark Ruffalo, and just not say anything.
Well, it can't be Mark Ruffalo. There would be an issue with that.
Are you saying
not only because he's in the movie already, but because of how that would make people feel replacing Jonathan Majors with a middle-aged white man?
Yeah, I get that, but
also Don Cheadle is also.
I just think it would be funny, given that they both were replaced. Or they both
bring
replaced.
back Terrence Howard.
That would make it worth it.
That would be brilliant. But I've got to admit, I do worry a little bit that they might get trigger happy.
Yeah, it's a risk. It's a risk.
They haven't got a good track record.
I mean, they did it with James Gunn, didn't they?
And Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. What was Johnny Depp in?
He was in Disney stuff.
I'm just thinking Marvel.
Yeah,
sorry,
but Marvel's owned by Disney.
Yeah, sorry.
It's the same corporation.
I was just like.
So
I was narrow-minded. I was really
not got a great
No.
track record of backing male actors.
No. What do you think will happen? I know you said what you want will happen.
I think
and what you fear, but what do you think? What if you had to make a prediction?
Dollar Signs will win out, and they, as you said, they've made him the face of the character that's going to be integral.
Like, it was such a big thing as well. Like, surely there's some kind of vetting process.
Yeah,
it's huge. Like, this is bigger than if maybe like Tom Hiddleston had to come out with something just after the event.
Bigger than
like,
Chadwick Boseman dying, isn't it? Because you can phase out that character. There's no way to phase out Kang. There's just
they've set it up big time.
Yeah, it's what everything's based around. So I think that the Dollar Signs will perhaps
equally acceptable option if they do have to get rid of him. Are you familiar with the John Travolta and Nick Cage movie Face Off?
No.
Okay, so the basic plot is there's a cop and a robber. I mean, they're not cops, but there's a cop and a robber.
Right.
And one of them, they basically swap faces.
Right.
They undergo surgery, and one of them takes the other's face, and then the other one's like, well, fuck you, I'm going to take your face. And so they're kind of like playing each other.
Can I say something? This sounds like the most Nick Cage and
it's
John
unbelievably
Travolta
unbelievably Nick Cage. But equally acceptable way to get rid of Jonathan Majors, face-off situation.
What? Just
Okay.
put his face on
He
someone
swaps.
else?
You know, they say, "Oh, Kang surgically swapped faces with someone else,"
Right.
and then phase the Kang who's not Kang but who's got Kang's face them out of the movie.
I
actor in.
think you're making it very complicated.
It's only complicated if you've not seen Face Off. If anyone's seen Face Off or is aware of Face Off,
they could bring Michael B. Jordan back.
That to play Kang?
Yeah, why not?
Come on, man. You're just being silly now.
He's a phenomenal actor.
You're just being silly.
I'm not being silly.
You are being silly.
Not being silly.
I'm bringing you legitimate face-off options.
Yeah. From the Nick Cage school of cinema.
What's really not helping is like I can't laugh because it hurts.
Yeah, you had an accident.
I did have an accident.
Someone
I wet myself.
Someone assaulted you.
What an accident? Yeah, I was taken out.
Jake got injured fighting off 10 men defending a young maiden out on the street.
I mean, yeah.
A fair maiden.
Yeah.
She granted you her boon.
She let me have a touch.
Because everyone knows, once you save a woman, they're king.
Yep, nothing turns a woman on more
than the blood of other men's
10 men.
Other men's blood on your face.
I mean, I've got that wrong before because I misinterpreted it when they said you should take on 10 guys. And that will really impress a woman.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, you know,
you thought there was a mutual appreciation. You thought, wow, I don't know if I could do that.
You can see where the confusion is.
Yeah.
It turns out that just makes her think you're gay.
When you've got Jerome and the boys taking you to town.
Like, what? I didn't get names. You know,
that doesn't surprise me.
I wasn't there to make friends. I was just there to impress a woman.
That's one way to do it.
And
did it work?
No. It turns out she just thinks you're gay.
Right.
Big mistake.
Well, look, you live and learn, bro.
And I've learned.
Plus, I mean, did you enjoy it?
I've learned. You know what? I would have liked him to stick around a little bit afterwards.
Okay.
You know, I felt very.
But you didn't bother getting their names, so.
They didn't stick around.
Wouldn't the name part come before?
No, not the way I do it.
Right. Okay. Makes sense.
Not the way I roll, baby.
How do you roll? I'm interested.
Well, currently I don't roll a lot.
No, because you're injured.
I am injured.
Yeah, they were rough with you.
I'm saying that now. I'm well aware that this will probably come up several times through the rest of the episode.
Gay!
That's what she said.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
I'm sorry, bro.
You know, no, it's, you know, like you said, we live and learn.
Right.
All right.
You can stop any specific. This is just like a would you rather, right? You have to live and die by it. There's no going, I don't want to do that. I don't want to bum my dad.
Go.
You can stop any specific crime, right, forever. No one can ever do it again.
Right, okay.
But you have to do it once. What are you picking?
That's a really great question. Because straight away my mind went to, like, you know, murder, paedophilia.
But you...
Like, kiddie fiddling.
But that means you... Yeah.
I would...
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it?
But no one ever gets to do this again.
No, ever.
I'd take one for the team.
You touch a kid?
But I'd get it on a technicality, you know. I mean, it's still bad, but I feel like, you know, 15 is probably not as bad. You will then go to prison
for it, by the way. You've got to serve the sentence of
I mean, I'm white.
Unless you're good enough to get away with it.
I'm white and rich, so I don't know if I would spend that much time in prison.
That's true.
I might
not even get behind bars.
I might sign up to the church first. You know, get that protection.
Yeah.
Get that protection.
Yeah.
But because I just think that's one of the worst. Because you're passing on so much trauma to someone who just doesn't.
You're a pedo, bro.
Yeah, I know.
And that poor kid didn't need it.
I can't be a paedophile. Some of my best friends are kids.
Yeah, fair.
No, what are you doing?
I just... If I was allowed to, like, just... Someone's on death row, right? We know we've got a video of this man committing unspeakable crimes. He's got to go. And I get to walk in with a knife and just end it. But then is that murder? That's execution, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if you get to choose. It's got to be... I think there's got to be a sort of complicit or implied innocence.
Like, your mind goes to rape for a second and then you're like, but no, because that then means... Yeah, I think I'd have to do something like rob an old lady or defraud an old person.
Oh, okay. When you went rob an old lady, I thought you were trying to stop all robberies, and your mind went to, well, if I'm going to rob someone, it might as well be an old lady.
Well, they're easy.
Easy targets.
Yeah. And then, like, I can rob her, and then once I know the crime's been committed,
You just kind of turn up on her door and are like,
go I'm really sorry, but it can never happen again now.
I'm your bank. I need money.
Yeah.
And she goes, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're robbing old ladies.
Or defrauding an old person, yeah.
Fine. And I don't want to say what I'm doing. But
You're
what
making a very
I'm going to say
difficult
is, yours, yes, it's great, and it will be, a lot of old people will be grateful, but let's be fair, all the old people that you've just saved from fraud, they're all going to die out soon anyway, whereas my victims are going to go on to live...
Their kids have more money to inherit.
They're my victims, not thanks to the Tories, they're not. And my victims,
there
it is.
Soon,
I knew I had to get some anti-Tory slander in here somewhere.
I've got a couple of.
But my kids are going to go on to live full, happy, healthy lives, and they're going to break the victim of shame and the victim of the cycle of victimization.
What I heard there is you're leaving your kids nothing.
I'm not going to leave but I'm leaving them trauma-free. They're broke,
but they've not been touched.
Trauma-free. Yeah,
right.
They've not been violated.
You could just protect your children.
I feel like this is easier.
Yeah.
Because I'm not protecting my kids. I'm protecting all kids.
Apart from the one.
Even the ones that are dicks.
Apart from the one.
Apart from the one that I do touch.
Interesting. I don't know where to go from there.
I know, because I can't even go, well, your mind went straight to robbing old lady, because mine is worse. It is immeasurably worse. Like, there is no way.
Who's the most embarrassing person you've ever had a crush on?
What, like, I can't admit to having that crush kind of embarrassment?
That's what embarrassing means, yeah.
Don't know. I don't think I'm ashamed of any of my crushes. Well, what about you?
Great podcast, bro. Thank you.
I'm quite, shame only works if you let it, be
but
shame.
like, is it, I don't know, like, you could have said something like Hugh Jackman. Do you know what I mean?
No one's embarrassed to be attracted to Hugh Jackman.
No, you're right.
You got to be more realistic.
Johnny Depp?
I don't find the attraction there, to be honest. I don't get it.
There's an intenseness to it.
I don't know. I don't get it.
You just want to look after him.
I think that intenseness borders, for me, into the fucking sociopath.
Yes, but I think that's because of substances. I think if you looked after him for a bit, got him on the straight and narrow, fed him well, just...
Oh, bro, if you were a woman, like a straight woman, you'd be so abused. Wow. You'd be a victim of repeated domestic violence, and you'd be the one that's like, I can change him. when he's when he's nice. No, you don't understand.
Johnny Depp's not abusive.
The soul behind him.
He's an alcoholic
I'm pretty sure he was found guilty of wife beating.
No, he wasn't.
No, I'm pretty sure he was.
He wasn't.
Because there was that case against the Son.
No, what he wasn't.
Where he sued them.
Yeah.
And
for libel.
Yeah, and the court said, well, no, because it was proven to have happened. So
it wasn't proven to have happened.
I'm pretty sure it was. No, I mean, well, I'm not.
That
I'm not
situation the legal situation there is he wasn't able to prove that based off the knowledge they had that they were wrong. He's not proving in a court in that situation whether he's a wife beater or not. He's trying to argue they didn't have the proof to prove he was a wife beater. He lost that case.
Yeah, which implies that there's something more to it.
How much have you actually looked into the situation?
Not at all, because I couldn't give less of a shit about Johnny Depp.
You can't accuse him of being a wife beater.
Oh, no, I think I can.
No, you can't.
No, I think I can.
You wouldn't like that if someone did that about you.
And they can make any claims they want. Okay. If I'm never going to meet them, they make whatever claims they want.
I don't know. That's a very dangerous attitude to have, I feel.
I mean, it would be dangerous if we really blow up.
No, but I just think let
them come for me, bro. Shoot for the king, you better not miss.
We've just handled it completely differently with Jonathan Majors. We've not accused him of anything. Do you know what I mean?
I know, but Jonathan Majors hasn't had that court case in the past. Like I said,
he's gonna have
I might be wrong. I might be wrong, but my understanding of it was that he said, you can't call me a wife beater, and they went, well, we can if you did. And the courts kind of went, yeah, that was my understanding. I'm not saying that's what happened.
The problem is, though...
I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying that was my understanding.
I watched the vast majority of the court case he did more recently, where a lot of the evidence used on Amber's side was the evidence being used in the Son case. And there's nothing that proves he's a wife beater. There's no evidence other than testimony from her sister.
I don't imagine I'll ever have to give him a face-to-face apology. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I just don't know enough about it. But that was like I said, that was my understanding. That's what I thought.
No, but I don't think that's enough to condemn someone.
I would condemn someone on less than that.
Fair enough.
I would look at someone, and if they were wearing like socks and sandals, condemned.
Fair enough.
If they had a dodgy fringe, condemned.
Fair enough.
If they used words like hollybobs and meant it unironically, condemned.
No, I just, particularly with stuff like false accusations around men, I think it's something we do need to be careful of in general, because you can ruin men's life. And like,
I would
Johnny
say this,
Depp's in a
with celebrities,
he's in a privileged position in the sense that he has the money that he could go after the situation.
I appreciate that for us poor people and the non-famous, but for celebrities, generally speaking, and powerful people in rich, powerful positions, their lives have not been affected, or their careers certainly have not been affected by false accusations.
Johnny Depp.
No, it's been affected, but what I'm saying is he's still getting roles. He's still getting offers.
Yeah, but not the sort of money he was getting when he was doing Pirates. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that was like its own franchised thing. So that was a
you're not going to get money. But it was finished because of false accusations.
But my point is,
it can affect someone's
career. His career has, it might not be at the peak it was.
Yeah.
But he's far from dropped off the cliff.
No, but he was. Like every company cut ties with him apart from one, which was that perfume one.
And I think it happens time and time again. Rich, powerful men, the false accusations, if they're proven to be false, they don't really do any damage.
I don't know. I feel that's a bit disingenuous. I think we do with all people. If we've heard rumours about what they get up to behind, look at Richard Gere. It's not about wife beating, but about him shoving gerbils up his arse.
Yeah, I remember that.
And like, that's probably not true, but everyone knows it. Do you know what I mean? And like, it's like an actual thing out there that Richard Gere, who's a really good actor and probably has done nothing wrong his entire life, is known as a sexual deviant. Do you know what I mean? So that's just why I say I feel like we
did
need...
it?
Well, what's the last big film he made?
I think what damaged Richard Gere's career was the 90s ending.
Probably. No, but like, particularly in the case of Johnny Depp, I would argue his career, for a period at least, took a massive drop off. And yes, it's recovering now. But if he didn't, and I'm saying overall, my concern is a lot of men don't have those resources to be able to go after someone when those accusations are made.
I'm talking specifically about rich and powerful men, and I don't think you can. Look, we're not going to spend the whole episode debating this, but people are more than welcome to write in.
It's good to have a debate. When was the last time we disagreed like this?
I don't think you'll find. I think you'll struggle to find a rich, powerful man who has faced allegations, false allegations, whose career is not now, or has not recovered since then. I think you'll really struggle.
I don't know. I can't think of any names off the top of my head, but it's because this wasn't a subject I was expecting to talk about. But no, I just feel like with those things in general, we have to take things seriously but be careful at the same time. Because I don't think victims should be put in a position where they're not trusted or not believed. But I also think we shouldn't automatically assume all men are dirtbags. Do you know what I mean? No,
I don't want to assume that, but I just think we don't want to be in a situation where we stop people coming forward. You know? And I think you're dangerous territory.
No, but I don't think by not assuming an accusation about someone is true is...
And like I said, look, take it back to the start of this conversation. That was potentially misinformation on my part with Johnny Depp. That's where that came from. I mean, you just wait to play the cover.
I know, there was this noise going on in the background and I'm talking to Jay and I'm like, what the... And then suddenly I realised what it was, so I apologise, guys.
Yeah, sorry, the Johnny Depp thing, that was a misinformation on my part. Yeah. To go back to the what kicked this conversation off, I had my information wrong. But anyway.
Yeah, and I'm also, what I would just like to say, I'm not, if someone's guilty of something, fucking, like we've talked about people like Mason Greenwood in the past, if they're guilty, they shouldn't be allowed.
Oh, so obviously, such a sad affair.
Yeah, and do you know what really worried me about that? Just randomly, it popped into my head. I saw on Twitter there was a poll done by quite about 100,000 people voted on it, and 52% said he should be allowed to stay.
I bet they're all United fans.
Probably.
Bet you any money.
No, but like, how desperate have you got to be able to overlook stuff like that?
Or we will ask Mikel Arteta.
Why? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Thomas Partey.
Yeah. It's funny, if you Google about that, there's not a lot.
No, I bet there's not.
It's all in like Twitter mentions that I've seen stuff about that.
I bet it's not.
Yeah.
I bet they've paid a good amount of money to keep that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And like the thing is, like, I do wonder sometimes with stuff like that, where do people, like, should we judge Mikel Arteta for that?
Yes.
Yeah.
But
we're not.
Think that's that.
But we're not, though, and it's not even a conversation that's going on, is it?
No, I'll tell you what really is annoying for me, and ultimately I'm like, no, yeah, it's wrong. I said there will always be, if he wins this league, there'll always be an asterisk over it for me.
No, I would agree with you.
Because of the City stronghold, and Liverpool have kind of challenged it a little bit, because of the City stronghold, I want someone different.
Yeah.
I do want someone different. I just don't want it to be there.
No, I get that. It's a really
tough.
Yeah, and I just don't know. As if I was an Arsenal fan, I would have a real issue with him being in our team.
What is mad about football fans that defend sex offenders if they play for their team? By the way, what is that about?
I don't know. Because particularly if these guys have daughters, do you know what I mean? That I can't wrap my head around. If you have a daughter and you're fine, like, if you, to be honest, if you're a man, anyone in general, you shouldn't be.
I think
okay with it.
Those football fans as well. They either become blindly ignorant, they have become willfully ignorant, or they're just blind to the way the law and the justice system works, because they kind of goes, well, he's not in prison, so it's not, he must be innocent kind of thing. It's like, no, there are, but then like, there's so many outcomes for team. He shouldn't be allowed to play either.
I think what he did was as bad. I think abusing animals is disgusting. But then we had a player, his name's escaping me at the moment, the Senegalese guy. And we sold him. Is he at Bournemouth? No, he's at Forest now. Kouyaté.
Kouyaté, yeah, the homophobic thing.
With the homophobic thing, I liked how we handled that. It was just immediately, no, that doesn't.
Yeah, you're no longer required at the club. I was very much like, I was really disappointed because I liked Kouyaté. Yeah. But as soon as he came out of it, it was like, he's got to go. No, like I don't feel comfortable with him being at my club. No. Holding those homophobic values. It's like, okay, if you hold them, I don't like that, and I'd like to change your mind on it, but at least have the decency to go, I better not say anything, but to come out and be like, publicly expressing those views. Is,
if they were like that sort of person that's either homophobic, sex abuser, whatever it is, I can't imagine how good they would have to be for me to be fine. There isn't a level. Do you know what I mean? No. Like, they could be Messi playing for Palace. Yep. I don't care. Get them gone.
Yep. Yeah. I don't know, I agree.
It's a really disgusting mindset.
Agreed.
Right. Vote rigging, Jake. What's going on?
Vote rigging?
We've got vote rigging going on at the moment.
Have we? With who? Yeah.
In this country, the Conservatives have passed new legislation.
This bullshit.
One, you've got to have ID.
This bullshit that just so blatantly targets young people.
There's a large percentage of the working class that don't have a form of visual ID, and young people. And the real kicker is they'd accept an over 60s
I was just going to say,
for an old person to use as a form of ID, but for a young person over 18
can I use my Oyster card? Yes. Oh, great. So I've got this 18 to 25. Oh no. No. Yeah. So my nan probably can't use hers then. What's her over 60s? No, she's all right.
Yeah.
It's like what? But we both had to, it was the same method to obtain that form of like. It's so ridiculous. And yeah, I mean, I know obviously you can get like some citizen stuff, but passports are like 80, 90 quid now.
I don't think we should be allowed, or as a
driving
government
licenses
should be allowed
like 70 quid, 80 quid
to change that sort of thing within, I don't know, a certain amount of time of an election. Like, we're a year or so away now. I don't think they should be allowed to do stuff like that.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing. It's sneaky and it's slimy, and I don't like it.
No.
And like you said, they were like, there's all these poll rigging. It's like, I don't know, there's been like 3 cases in like 20 years or something. I mean, it is nothing. You're talking nothing.
Yeah.
It's a made up problem. But this is what the right wing does. They fight problems that they've made up. Either they've created them, like the immigration problem, and it is a problem now.
Yeah.
Either they've created it and it's their policies that have created it, and they're going, we need to tackle this. It's like, the best way to tackle that is to get rid of you who made that, or they make things up.
Yeah.
And they just go, right, well, this is a problem, and you're like, is it? Like this voting thing. We've got a problem with voter fraud.
Do you think there's really enough people that believe in what they're selling for them to think it's worth doing.
No, but I worry that
But there must be though for them to be doing it. Do you know what I mean? It's like a cognitive.
And I worry that the Labour Party
are
pushing people away.
Yeah, the thing is, what I don't understand, it feels like to me it's a time where Labour could be not as left as they like, but close to it, to show
some
how
issues
different they are to the Conservatives, and they're just not doing it. I feel like they're too afraid.
It's not even like they've gone centrist; they've gone right of centre on some policies. Like,
I feel like they've sort of they're afraid of how volatile this country is. I feel, and like they're worried that if they go too far the other way, that people will be like, oh no, because of what happened with Corbyn. Because some of the stuff that Labour are promising now, Corbyn was promising when he was running for office, I guess. I don't know what you call it in this country, but when he wanted to be Prime Minister. But yeah, I feel like the Labour Party are afraid. I feel like we've had a common theme for a while now of Keir Starmer being disappointing on quite key issues and not being vocal enough. And I wish he was less concerned about talking about Jeremy Corbyn still. I don't understand why he needs to be in the conversation currently.
Did you see why they said he's not allowed to stand as a Labour candidate at the next election?
Wasn't it to do with comments he made?
Oh no, the official reason was that I think the official reason was that because he lost the last election.
Okay.
And it was kind of like, that's a bullshit reason, and you and I both know it.
Yeah.
I might be wrong on that, but that was what I got.
Keir Starmer publicly said that it was because he made
remarks
after the anti-Semitism report.
They asked him as well. They were like, "Oh, are you and Jeremy Corbyn friends?" And he said,
Yeah,
"Oh, we've never
that.
been friends." And then you cut back to an interview like 2 years ago, whatever. He was like, "He's my, he's a good friend." And you're like, oh.
And now he's saying like,
It's
"No,
like,
we were
Keir,
work colleagues."
You were meant to be the boring, honest antidote to the Tories, not one of them. I feel like that Obi-Wan scene in Revenge of the Sith. It's like,
you were the chosen
you were meant
one.
to destroy them, not join them.
Yeah, and the thing is, that I don't know, as I said, if the amount of people is actually real, but I feel like it has to be for them to be doing it, because otherwise, why are they doing it?
Real, as long as they got all the papers in their pockets.
Guess so. Yeah, it's worrying. Right, I've got a. No, it's not that one.
I mean, the level of professionalism.
One of the things I wanted to talk to you about was the football. We sort of talked about it via text the other night with Ash, and it was about, you mentioned the fact so many clubs have sacked their manager this season, and we were sort of debating.
I think 12, not necessarily sacked,
only 8 teams haven't
the same manager.
The
same manager that it started with. I mean, Brighton is a bit of a technicality because they didn't sack Potter, but they did start the season with him.
Yeah. I think I've got the number here. 10 managers sacked, and Southampton and Chelsea have done it twice.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I think the tightness of the league.
Yeah. Definitely.
I think people are panicking. I think Bowley's obviously come in and was like, that's what you do. But like, he's just throwing money at the place. Like, there are clubs out there that are managers that are losing their jobs because they've not had backing from the club, because they've not had money given to them in the transfer window.
Yeah.
And Potter's had the opposite. He's had like 20 players handed to him on a plate. Exactly. He's had like 20 players handed to him on a plate and gone, there you go. And he's like, I don't want any of these. None of these fit the way I play. And they're like, cool, win things.
Yeah.
I think tightness of the league. I think that's definitely it. What do you think?
My main thing is, I think it's because of the money that's in football at the moment. And I think the problem is that, and I think also a lot of these owners that own Premier League clubs now are billionaires and have put a lot of money into their football clubs. And I think now I don't know, every team, it feels like a weird league this year, and I don't know whether it's because of the World Cup or whatever, but a lot of teams have been off their game and have been really, like, teams I thought that would be doing well aren't doing well. And then you've got a situation like Chelsea where, like you say, they've just thrown the kitchen sink.
And you've got like Fulham and Brentford chasing the European spots in like a mental season.
And like Brighton doing there's so many teams doing differently than you would have expected. Like, I'd have never thought Fulham had any
Here's
chance
something, right? I said this to you guys in the chat, and I'd stand by it, and I'd like to say it now on the podcast.
Yeah.
Given statistically that most Premier League managers, just focusing on the Premier League, but Football League in general, but let's just focus on the Premier League. Given that statistically most Premier League managers get fired, why the fuck do these clubs allow the managers and their agents to put so much of a payout in their thing, because you've got, when you sign a manager,
Yeah.
and you say, right, there's a 20 million payout if we fire him before the end of his contract, you've got to know that statistically you're going to pay whatever figure you put down in that contract.
Yeah.
You are going to pay. Managers very rarely reach the end of their contracts before you go, thanks but no thanks.
Yeah.
Very rarely retire. In the last few years, Hodgson, saw out his contract and then sort of went away.
He retired. He was supposed to retire.
Yeah. But I can't think of any other top team that's had a managerial change that were obviously Brighton.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, they was poached, but they were paid, so they had money coming in for their manager.
Yeah.
But other than those two instances, every other managerial change that I can think of in the last few years has been a sacking.
Mm.
So why do you allow that? Why do the clubs allow? Surely if the clubs all came together and went, this is stupid, let's not do it.
Yeah, I think it's...
You're going to pay it. Whatever you put in that contract, you're going to pay it.
Well, I think the problem is, like, if they give them a manager a 3-year deal, like, and I think Potter was on 12 million a year, right? So just in the 6 months he's been at Chelsea, he's earned £6 million. So I don't feel particularly bad for him. But like, I believe, and I could be wrong about this, what I've read before is that if they didn't have a clause in there, they would have to, on a legal terms, if they wanted to cancel their contract, would have to pay the full amount of their contract. So usually the clause is a reduced amount from whatever the entirety of their contract is. So I think that's why they do it.
I just think there's got to be a way that you write it in that says, look, here's
the
a
only
flat
other
fee.
way
If we
around
cancel your contract early, here's a flat fee.
Rolling deals and just be like, look, you've got a year deal. We're not going to have to pay you a huge amount if we want to get rid of you.
Yeah.
But then I guess the top quality managers aren't going to...
Yeah, what more? They're not going to sign up
go for a rolling deal.
It just seems a bit mental. Like I said, every managerial ends in the sacking.
Well, I just think when you're throwing money around, that's not the only place where they're wasting money. Agents' fees, there's all sorts of...
agents ruin the game.
There's all sorts of areas where they're probably throwing money around where they don't need to.
Yeah.
But managers is a weird one because I don't feel like managers used to be on the sort of money they're on now. It seems to be, I don't know, I feel like since maybe City and Chelsea got their money, that money started getting thrown at managers. I know, like, people like Sir Alex Ferguson, he was always famously the most well-paid manager in the league, but that was more understandable with length of service and how well he's done.
And
but
wins,
now it sounds like the average Premier League manager's on like 8 to 10 mil a season, and that just seems mental to me.
We've said it before, though, money in football's insane.
Yeah,
and it keeps getting
think
worse.
it's a bubble.
It's got to reach a breaking point.
I think it is
It's got to.
Well, because the thing is, eventually, and I don't know when this will happen, but football might not have the same draw it does now. Like, maybe not, people aren't into it as much. It becomes less relatable to the common man, whatever it might be. And then suddenly billionaires are going to be like, well, it's now not worth the hundreds of millions I throw at this club.
We're paying for it through TV money and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's going to come a point where we can't afford it, and we're just going to go, look, we're just going to...
for any sports channels.
Well, we're going to go, look, we're going to stream it illegally. And they can crack down on that all they want, but there's going to come a point where enough people are going to be like, well, I physically can't... Because, you know, especially now with the cost of living going up.
I reckon what must keep them going, it must be the pub culture, because there must be enough pubs paying the fee.
But pubs are closing down on at an astonishing rate.
Because people just don't have the money to do stuff anymore.
I think it's...
And then you look at teams like City, where all their money is fake money. It's all their owners' money. All the sponsorship that comes in is money that, on paper, you can see it. City pay the money to whatever company it is that's sponsoring them, and then they pay it to City. It's just... So the minute their owners decide, all right, we're done, they don't have the global reach that like a Man United does, or someone like that they still... Like Man United have survived on no investment the entire time the Glazers have been in there. It's all been through sponsorship money.
Mostly,
merchandise. Well, they don't have that sort of money.
No, they don't have big money, but they have put some money in.
Yeah, but it's not like it's apples and oranges compared to like
not
City
billions a year.
Well, I would be amazed because the thing is, the Glazers have been they've taken out. I think it was something like 1.5 billion in dividends and interest payments from the club since they've been there. So I think it's been the opposite.
Good money.
It's not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Anyone wants to pay us 1.5
and then
bill?
What they're looking to sell it for? I think it's in the region of 8 bill. I've heard.
Yeah, I think they've had to readjust. They're having to reassess, aren't they? Because it's
Well, the thing is because
the interest is from owners that are probably not going to pass
yeah,
the fit and proper. Well, they will, because the fit and proper test is bullshit.
yeah, it's either the Qatari royal family, or sorry, it's not the Qatari royal family. It's just a fund from Qatar that's owned by the Qatari royal family.
That fit and royal proper test is just like, you seem a bit dodgy. It's like, yeah, no, you're right. You know, some of my money.
Yeah.
What's that? Is that a? Let me just wipe that down with
Is
this
that human rights
£50.
abuse?
Let me just wipe this down with a £50 note. Do you know what? You can keep that.
Yeah.
That's yours, my man. And do you know what? Here, that looks quite lonely. That £50 note.
Yeah.
Why don't you take some more? And sorry, what were you saying about me and my ownership?
I might forget my briefcase when I leave. That's filled with more £50 notes.
What were you saying about my fit and proper?
Yeah. The thing is, everyone has a price, bro. I'd like to
I think mine's
it's
shockingly
difficult.
low.
I feel like we sit here and we think like, if I was in that position, no, I would uphold the integrity of the office I hold, and then someone slides you £100,000. You know, integrity. What do we need?
You know, there's levels. There's levels to the integrity game.
Yeah. This pays off my mortgage. I'm cool.
This gives me a mortgage. Yeah, cool. Listen, I don't want to push things here.
Right.
But obviously I am carrying an injury.
Right. You in pain?
I'm reaching a point where I'd like
That's
to go
absolutely fair.
Not be in pain.
That's fair.
So I don't want to...
Right. Well,
we can save some stuff for next time when I don't prepare and you want to call me out.
Which I'll quite happily do.
I've noticed. I wouldn't say you take pleasure in it.
Oh, I do.
But no, I would. Yeah, I would say you take pleasure in it. I would say you enjoy it.
I do.
It's a little bit of power in it. A little power trip that you hold over me.
So I'm just trying to drag it out a bit longer now, just knowing you're in pain. Do you know what I mean?
Physical pain. Yeah. Emotional pain. Mental pain.
Yeah.
I'm often in mental pain in your company.
I've heard that.
It's the mental strain of carrying a conversation
for 45 minutes.
45 minutes.
Yeah. It must be difficult.
Really
and I'm
tough.
a heavy man.
It's really... Oh, my goodness. Intellectually?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
In terms of girth?
Honestly. You're a girthy man.
I am a girthy man. Right, guys. Ow. To spare Jake any more pain, I'll do the outro very quickly. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at CrossingSwords_podcast, on Twitter at Swords Crossing, and on Facebook at just Crossing Swords. And then you can find our YouTube page very easily. There's a link in the description of every episode. And please email us at CrossingSwords19@gmail.com, and that'll also be on the screen.
And while you're there, clicking on the link to the YouTube channel to follow and to subscribe to us.
Helps massively.
You might as well just rate, leave a review.
Yeah.
Share it if you accidentally share it. Maybe, share it to people you like, people you don't like.
Yeah, just share it.
Just share it.
Yeah.
Sharing is caring.
That's all we need.
It's all we need.
Yeah. Goodbye.
It's a positive note.